Nate Diaz's rocky relationship with the UFC has been very public for the world to see over the last few weeks. With one fight remaining on his contract, the stock of Nate has been trying to fulfill his obligation and leave the promotion at its earliest. Diaz went so far to say that he will fight anyone at the earliest, and the UFC welterweight Kevin Holland offered to step up. Trailblazers took to Twitter to call out the UFC veteran and urge President Dana White to book the matchup. However, according to Chael Sonnen, the Stockton native wouldn't want to meet Kevin Holland inside the octagon. In a recent edition of Beyond the Fight, the American Gangster said that Holland's offer to fight Diaz was a smart move. However, he expresses his doubts over Diaz accepting the call-out.
Interesting move by Holland, smart move by Holland, and I don't think Nate's gonna let this slide. But just to pay off what I talked to you about in the beginning, just like Corey Anderson said, there's levels to this. There's levels to call-outs. And I'm not positive that Nate is going to be comfortable coming at one of these younger guys. That's somebody Nate would usually look out for. Nate would see in the back, he'd throw an arm around, he'd say an encouraging word to.
Ben Askren has a theory that will make Kevin Holland's fans unhappy. Apart from being one of the most exciting up-and-comers in the UFC, Holland has spent his spare time as Houston's own superhero. Over the past several months, Holland has stopped a total of 4 crimes. However, Ben Askren is skeptical that Holland's heroic exploits could be staged by the 29-year-old himself. During an interview with The Schmo, the former UFC welterweight argued.
Yeah, part of me almost think this is my conspiracy theorist side. Like, is he just paying people to act wild so he can be this vigilante? Because what is the chance? Listen, I have now lived for 37 years, Schmo. I have never witnessed a crime in action and been tracking someone down. Haven't ever seen it happen, So now he's on like time 4. Like, how is this possible?
Not sure if he's finding crime or crime's finding him.
Or he's paying for the crime to happen. What about that? And then he goes and tackles him and he's the hero.
We're starting with conspiracy theories right off the bat, but he tackled this guy the night before he fights over there in UFC,
That's
Austin.
What I'm saying. Maybe it was like his old buddy and he paid him to swipe something and then he could be the hero. It's quite the good gimmick.
Michael Bisping believes Israel Adesanya will make a big mistake if he underestimates Jared Cannonier heading into their upcoming middleweight title clash as a headliner of UFC 276. According to the count, Adesanya and Cannonier's respective matchup against Anderson Silva in the past has given fans a hint of how the fight is likely to play out. In a recent video shared to his YouTube channel, Michael Bisping said this.
When you fight Anderson Silva, it's the same thing as fighting Israel Adesanya, by the way. When you find a guy that's tall, lanky, long, rangy, excellent kickboxing with a very long reach, you have to take away the reach advantage. You have to put them on the back foot. You cannot allow them to plant their feet in the octagon and be at their range, where they're having fun, to where this becomes a technical matchup, to where then, they are fighting their style of fight. They are doing what they have trained to do their entire life.
Jon Jones' name comes up a lot when fans discuss their personal greatest of all time fighter, but for MMA manager Ali Abdelaziz, Jon Jones doesn't even come into the discussion. Abdelaziz was speaking with Sherdog on the topic of GOAT, and of course he put his client and personal friend Khabib Nurmagomedov at the top of the GOAT list. He said this.
Man, Jon Jones, like when I'm talking about the GOAT mean inside the cage, outside the cage, inside the cage, outside the cage, Khabib never have close fight. You look at Jon Jones, last 3 fights is very close fights, last 3 fights is very close fight. Khabib never have even a close fight, dominance, Khabib is better. Undefeated in many rounds, Khabib is better. Outside the cage, Khabib is better. Khabib never have an action with USADA, none of the stuff. I'm not saying, of course, Jon Jones is a great fighter, but he cannot tie the shoes of Khabib. I don't think he can. He's good, but I think Khabib on a different level.
Dominick Cruz has labeled the UFC a machine heading into his bout against Marlon Chito Vera on August 13. Cruz comes into his matchup on a 2-fight win streak while Vera is on a 3-fight win streak. Cruz joined the UFC in 2011 and built a promotional record of 7 wins with 2 losses. The Dominator has also landed a consistent job as a UFC commentator/analyst over the last few years. With that being said, the former UFC bantamweight champion believes that the UFC usually prioritizes what's best for them. During an interview with John Anik, the Dominator was asked about his matchup against Ferreira being a title eliminator.
I believe this is all the implications for a title fight. You're not wrong. Neither is Chael. But that doesn't mean the UFC cares.
Yeah, yeah,
care.
fair.
They're a machine, and the machine, any machine, there's no heart. It's just money and power and energy.
Yeah.
And that's what the UFC runs with, and that's okay. I've accepted that when that's what it is. So they don't care what I deserve. They care what happens.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Ali Abdelaziz has claimed Khabib Nurmagomedov will finish reigning UFC middleweight champion Israel Adesanya in 3 rounds if they were to collide. During an interaction with Sherdog, the Dominance MMA boss asserted that Nurmagomedov will stop Israel Adesanya if the Eagle comes out of retirement. Here's what Ali Abdelaziz had to say.
I'm going to say something, and I know a lot of people are going to talk bad. And I know me and Israel Adesanya have like a little beef, but I have no problem with Israel. I think he's a good man. Khabib now weighs 200 pounds. If Khabib comes tomorrow and cut to 185, he will stop Israel Adesanya in 3 rounds. This is my opinion. I see it. He beat heavyweight, light heavyweight, welterweight, lightweight. He's unstoppable now. He's like a tractor trailer, By the styles, if Khabib want to come back and talk with Dana White, said, let me fight at middleweight, he will finish Israel in 3 rounds because the style of fight.
Middleweight champion Israel Adesanya has given a breakdown of a fight between himself and Anderson Silva from 2019. Adesanya admitted there was a moment in the contest where Silva had him hurt, revealing that he could see 3 Silvas. Speaking on the BT Sports YouTube channel, Adesanya detailed the moment the former middleweight champion had him rocked.
Crazy. He got me there, and then off me jab again, boom, oh, and then I saw 3 Silvas there, and then he knew I was hurt. And then he was trying to finish the fight. And I was like, okay, just maintain your distance. Do not get finished by the spider. So I just made sure till I get my wits about me.
How enjoyable was this one?
Beautiful. I had fun in this fight, man. I really had fun in this fight.
Michael Bisping and Anthony Smith have given their thoughts on the upcoming trial between Jorge Masvidal and Colby Covington. Both men agreed that assault is never the answer. However, they are convinced there are active UFC fighters who have done much worse.
Connor's done worse things. John Jones has done worse things. And neither one of those guys ended up with any jail time. So, John T-boned a lady in a car drunk. Connor hit an old man in a bar, attacked a bus. Lots of people didn't get a fight and ended up with probation. So, I think Masvidal will be okay.
Yeah, it's the previous though. I think he's. I don't know. He might have done a little time, but anyway, who cares? But he'll be all right. I'm not sure what got us onto this, but.